What if I told you that scientists are trying to bring back animals that went extinct thousands of years ago? From giant wolves to birds that vanished without a trace. The list you're about to see sounds like something out of a movie, but it's real. And each species has a story that's as fascinating as it is mysterious. Stick around till the end, because the final animal on this list is absolutely mind-blowing. Love learning wild animal facts? Then hit that subscribe button and join me on this journey through the impossible. 10. Smilodon. Smilodon fatalis. When we think of prehistoric predators, it's hard not to picture the legendary saber-toothed cat, the Smilodon. With fangs over 8 inches long and a muscular body built for brutal ambushes, this fierce feline was once the terror of Ice Age North America. Despite its nickname, the Smilodon wasn't actually a tiger. It belonged to a completely different branch of the cat family. Shorter and stockier than modern big cats, it had incredibly powerful forelimbs. Imagine a sumo wrestler in feline form. Those front legs were used to pin down massive prey like bison, or even young mammoths. Now picture running into one of these beasts on a morning hike. Weighing up to 660 pounds, the Smilodon wasn't particularly fast. Instead, it relied on strength and precision, ambushing its victims with deadly accuracy. Its saber-like teeth were too fragile to crush bone, so it targeted soft spots like the neck. One bite. Game over. The Smilodon vanished around 10,000 years ago, likely due to a mix of climate shifts, shrinking prey populations, and the arrival of human hunters. But today, scientists are dreaming of using ancient DNA to bring it back, a project as bold as it is controversial. The thought of a predator like this in the modern world is both thrilling and terrifying. Did you already know these wild facts about the saber-toothed cat? And what do you think? Should we really bring it back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. 9. MOA. Dinornis robustus. Imagine a bird so massive it made an ostrich look tiny. That was the moa, a flightless giant that could grow over 10 feet tall and weigh more than 450 pounds. No wings, no flight, just a towering presence that once roamed the forests of New Zealand like a living legend. For millions of years, the moa had no natural predators, until humans arrived. Within just a few centuries of the first Maori settlers landing, all 9 known species of moa were wiped out, hunted to extinction. They were an easy source of food, slow, defenseless, and unable to escape. But what really hits home is the emotional weight this creature carries. Think about it, a bird that evolved in isolation for eons, only to vanish completely after making contact with humans. It forces us to reflect on our role in shaping, and often ending, the lives of other species. Today, researchers are studying DNA from fossilized eggs and preserved bones, hoping to one day resurrect this gentle giant. But if we did bring the moa back, would it truly belong? Or would it be a relic in a world that no longer fits? Reviving a species isn't just about science, it's about responsibility. Because bringing something back isn't the same as giving it a home.
If you found this fact surprising, why not give back by subscribing? It helps us keep bringing you amazing animal discoveries. Thanks for your support. Now, let's keep going.
8. Woolly rhinoceros, Coelodonta antiquitatis. Now picture a scene straight out of a cave painting. A rhino covered in golden brown fur, trudging through a blizzard during the Ice Age. That was the woolly rhinoceros, one of the toughest, most iconic animals of the Pleistocene. Hardy, heavily built, and perfectly adapted to the cold, it shared frozen plains with mammoths and saber-toothed cats. Standing over 6 feet tall at the shoulder, with a massive horn, it was made for survival in extreme conditions. Its dense coat and stocky frame worked like armor against the icy winds. The woolly rhino wasn't just a survivor, it was a symbol of resilience. This is one of those creatures that feels frozen in time. Some remains have been so well preserved in Siberian permafrost that even internal organs are still intact. That's why it's a prime candidate for de-extinction, stirring both scientific excitement and ethical debate. But beyond science, the woolly rhino carries an ancient memory. Early humans captured its image in cave art, perhaps a message to the future. Just imagining this creature walking the earth again sparked something deep, almost mythical. A reconnection with the roots of humanity and a world we've only glimpsed in fragments. Maybe, deep down, Our desire to bring the woolly rhino back isn't just about curiosity. Maybe it's our way of reconciling with what we lost, of bridging the gap between past and present. 7. Cave lion, Panthera spelaea. The name alone is powerful, but the story behind the cave lion is even more striking. Picture a feline so massive and majestic, it made today's lions look like house cats. This beast ruled the Ice Age lands of Europe and Asia, and it was so unforgettable that early humans painted it on cave walls, as if trying to preserve its presence for eternity. Oddly enough, cave lions didn't actually live inside caves. They got the name because most of their fossils were discovered in those dark, frozen places, protected over millennia. In size and strength, they surpassed modern lions, with a bulkier frame and a look that blended grace with raw power. What really resonates, though, is knowing that our ancestors knew these animals. They coexisted. Primitive humans and cave lions shared the same landscapes. The markings on cave walls aren't just art, they're memory. Silent evidence of encounters that defined an era. Today, with well-preserved specimens found in Siberia, scientists are beginning to ask the unthinkable. What if we could bring it back? Not just as a digital rendering, but in flesh and blood. A real, roaring predator from the past, reintroduced to our world. When we look at the cave lion, we don't just see an animal. We see a piece of our own story, an echo from a time when humans walked side by side with giants. 6. Passenger pigeon, Ectopistes migratorius. Few animals illustrate humanity's impact on nature as vividly as the passenger pigeon. Imagine billions, yes billions, of birds soaring across the skies of North America, forming living clouds that blocked out the sun for hours. It was a spectacle so surreal it left 18th-century European settlers in awe. These birds traveled in massive flocks, feeding on seeds and fruits from the forests, playing a crucial role in maintaining ecological balance by spreading plant life across vast distances. But this very abundance became their downfall. Hunted relentlessly for food and profit, they were wiped out in just a few decades. The part that really tugs at the heart is this. The last known passenger pigeon, named Martha, died alone in a zoo in 1914. And to think that just 50 years earlier, they numbered in the millions. It's a loss that still feels painfully recent. Bringing the passenger pigeon back isn't just a genetic challenge. It's symbolic. A collective effort to right a devastating wrong. Many scientists see it as a chance to help restore lost ecosystems, and maybe remind future generations that even the most plentiful species can vanish in the blink of an eye. There's something poetic about it too. Resurrecting a bird that once witnessed the birth of a continent, one that flew over forests that no longer exist. It's more than science. It's almost an apology from humanity. 5. Tasmanian tiger, Thylacine cynocephaly. The Tasmanian tiger feels like a creature out of a mystery novel. A dog-like body, tiger stripes, the behavior of a cat, and a pouch like a kangaroo. Nature clearly had fun with this one. This strange, beautiful animal once roamed Australia, Tasmania, and New Guinea, baffling explorers and scientists alike. It was a carnivorous marsupial, nocturnal, quiet, with a haunting, almost soulful stare. For thousands of years, it coexisted peacefully with its environment, until humans changed the rules. Labeled a threat to livestock, it was hunted mercilessly. Governments even paid bounties for every one killed. Within decades, it was gone. The last known Tasmanian tiger died in captivity in 1936. Alone, misunderstood, and forgotten. And this is where it gets personal. The Tasmanian tiger didn't go extinct by accident. It was driven to extinction by choice. That makes it a powerful symbol of the guilt we carry as a dominant species. Today, a race is on to recover its DNA and possibly recreate it in the lab. But beneath the tech and science lies something deeper, a longing to turn back time, to make peace with the past. And if it does come back, would we treat it better this time? Or would history just repeat itself? 4. Mylodon, Mylodon darwinii. You might not recognize the name at first, but the Mylodon holds a near-mythical place in South America's natural history. Picture a giant ground sloth the size of a small car, with claws strong enough to tear into earth like soft sand. This massive herbivore roamed the cold, arid lands of Patagonia, feeding on leaves, branches, and roots. It was peaceful, but powerful. Covered in thick fur and equipped with bony plates beneath its skin, like a built-in armor against predators. But here's the twist. For a long time, people thought the Mylodon might still be alive. In the 19th century, explorers found hide and dung in such good condition that they believed it had survived in remote caves. The rumors sparked expeditions, legends, and a lasting fascination with the living giant sloth. Even today, the myth lingers in the region, a blend of science and folklore. This blurred line between myth and reality makes the Mylodon a fascinating candidate for de-extinction. With incredibly preserved remains and viable DNA, some believe bringing it back could even help restore damaged ecosystems. More than a curiosity, the Mylodon represents a world that was wilder, untouched, simpler. Imagining it alive again feels like opening a window to the past, while standing firmly in the future. 3. Dodo, Rhapis cucullatus. Few animals have become as iconic as the dodo. Even if people don't know what it was, they've heard the name. In stories, cartoons, even idioms. That's no accident. The dodo became the ultimate symbol of extinction, and maybe, unintentionally, of human forgetfulness. Native to Mauritius, an island in the Indian Ocean, the dodo was a flightless bird that didn't flee or fight. It lived in a paradise without predators, and adapted to peace. It stood about 3 feet tall, weighed over 30 pounds, and wandered calmly through the forests. Curious, gentle, and tragically trusting. When Europeans arrived in the 1600s, they brought something the dodo had never encountered: danger. Dogs, cats, rats, and, of course, humans. Within less than a century, the dodo was gone. No resistance, no warning, no farewell. What hits home is that the dodo didn't go extinct because it was weak. It went extinct because it never learned to fear. It trusted too much in a world that changed too fast. Now, with preserved DNA fragments and research into related birds like pigeons, there's a real shot at bringing the dodo back. But it's not just about reviving a bird, it's about rewriting its story with more care, more intention, more awareness. Because if the dodo teaches us anything, it's that innocence in the face of change can be fatal. Maybe now, it's our turn to prove we've learned something. 2. Woolly mammoth, Mammothus primigenius. Picture an endless white landscape, swept by freezing winds of the Ice Age. And from that frozen silence emerges the mighty woolly mammoth. With its thick shaggy coat, massive curved tusks, and slow, deliberate stride, it wasn't just one of the most iconic creatures of prehistory. It may be the most beloved. The woolly mammoth lived side by side with our ancestors. It's not just a fossil in a museum. It's part of the stories whispered around ancient fires. Found in rituals, cave paintings, and legends, the mammoth holds a place in our shared memory. Even now, it feels oddly familiar, as if somewhere in our collective unconscious, it's still walking among us. Though it disappeared from most of the world about 4,000 years ago, small populations of mammoths managed to survive longer on isolated Arctic islands. Thanks to the deep cold, many of their bodies remained astonishingly well preserved, complete with tissue, fur, and even bone marrow. A gold mine for modern science. Today, labs across the world, especially in Russia, South Korea, and the US, are working on projects to bring the mammoth back using cloning techniques and Asian elephant surrogates. And the goal isn't just scientific spectacle. Some believe reintroducing mammoths could help restore the mammoth steppe, and even contribute to global climate balance. But beyond the science, what really captures our imagination is the image. This majestic being, walking once more through the snow, as if time had only paused for a moment. The mammoth isn't just a symbol of the Ice Age, it's a living memory of nature itself. And maybe a second chance to do things differently. 1. Dire wolf, Oenocean dirus. It wasn't just a wolf. It was the dire wolf. A name that carries weight, mystery, and a certain reverence. This Ice Age titan roamed the Americas for tens of thousands of years, alongside saber-toothed cats and mammoths. But despite the resemblance, it wasn't the ancestor of today's gray wolf. It was a distinct, separate species. Bigger, more powerful, and, as the name implies, far more fearsome. Stretching nearly 7 feet long, with bone-crushing jaws, the dire wolf was a top-tier predator. But it wasn't just a lone hunter. It lived in packs, hunted cooperatively, and possibly even mourned its dead, much like today's wolves. And that's where it really hits home. Behind the beast, there was family, loyalty, connection. Its extinction aligned with the end of the Ice Age and the arrival of humans. As megafauna dwindled and competition for food grew fierce, the dire wolf disappeared. But it left a trace, literally. Fossils found in tar pits, like those in La Brea, show hundreds of individuals trapped together, likely drawn in by the cries of an injured animal. It's almost poetic, a pack that stayed together to the very end. Now, with genetic breakthroughs and well-preserved remains, there's a real shot at reviving the dire wolf. But the question remains, does our modern world have space for a creature like this? Or perhaps the real question is, do we have the wisdom to share that space? Because in the end, these stories aren't just about animals we've lost. They're about the decisions still ahead of us. The dire wolf might return, but the greater return could be our capacity to respect and protect the wild. And if you're ready to switch gears and meet the most heart-meltingly adorable animals on the planet, just click the video on screen now. From fluffy oddballs to tiny charmers, we're counting down the cutest creatures alive. And trust me, number 1 will absolutely steal your heart. Click now and keep the animal adventure going.